Imagine you just woke up and you begin getting your child ready for school. Once you guys are both finished getting ready, you head out the door, get in that car, and listen to your morning tunes before you drop them off. Everything seems normal. Once you drop them off, you begin your 8-hour shift. Time flies by, and next thing you know, you only have 3 hours left. Everything's great until you get a text from your child that says there's an active shooter on campus. This has been the tragic reality for multiple parents, and without change, it will continue to happen for years to come. They're shooting in my class. I'm hiding in a corner. I love you. This is what Jessica Luckman texted her mom. This info comes from Angie Gegis, article titled Text Capture Heartbreaking Farewells as Parkland Students Hide from Shooter. Jessica sent this text as the shooter was approaching her classroom. If this can be preventable, then no family should have to go through it. By implementing higher security practices when it comes to guns in the United States, this will prevent a lot of deaths seen through shootings. There's no reason why shooters should have access to the guns and why it should be as easy as it is for them to access, specifically in the state of Georgia. Social media has been huge in terms of the role it plays when it comes to mass shootings, and with higher security practices and cybersecurity, that can also help prevent these shootings. And additionally, with gun laws, it will help not only intentional shootings as well as unintentional shootings and from guns hitting the street. Shooters should not be able to have access to the weapons they are using. In the state of Georgia, all you need to purchase a gun is a background check. And once you own the gun, legally you are allowed to sell it to anyone as long as they do not have a felony. This allows for too many guns on the street. This information comes from the frequently asked questions about Georgia firearm laws on georgiacarry.org. In terms of the guns being used in the shooting, it goes from handguns to rifles to shotguns. This statistically makes sense, seeing that handguns are the cheapest to purchase. A background check is not sufficient for anyone. In most cases, when we see mass shootings, it is usually the shooter's first and last crime that they commit. Therefore, there will not be sufficient evidence seen on a background check to flag them. There is also a lot of loopholes that can happen with the background check. If I were to purchase a gun, I'm pretty sure my background will come back clean, but I could then legally sell it to someone else and they could possibly have a written manifesto. So it's very easy for loopholes to happen. The solution to this would be to stop selling guns altogether because we do not know the individual's intent when they are being bought. You cannot know if they're planning to use it for self-defense, suicide, homicide, for show, mass shooting. You just never know. The facts about the guns, and the most frequently used one being the handgun, came from a statistics website titled Weapons Types That Were Used in Mass Shootings from 1982 to 2023. Now that we understand why limiting access will save lives, let's get a better look into the cybersecurity portion. So in most cases, social media is used for shooters to hint at what they plan on doing. If there was a greater cybersecurity present, this could prevent attacks. They will also just post online, maybe not social media. An example of something being posted on social media was Louisville shooter Connor Sturgeon. He told his plans on Instagram before shooting at a bank that he was formerly employed at. This information comes straight from his Instagram story where he says, and I quote, "They won't listen to words or protests. Let's see if they hear this." If he had been flagged for this suspicious behavior online, the 5 dead and 6 injured could be telling a different story right now. The solution is heightened cybersecurity that flags threats to safety. If this had been implemented beforehand, the Louisville incident could have been preventable. Now that we understand the cybersecurity portion and how that can help, let's see what currently happens without gun laws. People are able to get easy access to guns without the proper training or guidance on how to use them. No training leads to unintentional shootings. An unintentional shooting is defined as used in public health for injuries that had no intent to harm. This definition comes from the Educational Fund to Stop Gun Violence's article titled Unintentional Shootings. More guns on the street leads to more deaths. And this is seen through all types of gun violence. Since April 24th, 2023, there have been 13,175 deaths in the U.S., and this continues to trend upwards. When I originally wrote this outline, that number was down by 2,000, and that was only a week ago. The solution would be to stop selling, but secondly, to also require training. It's very risky to just continue to sell it and not require any training or guidance. And if any deaths or injuries can be prevented, that's the main goal. The information about the statistics came from the Gun Violence Archive, which is updated every single day. Now, for those of you that are opposed to gun laws being implemented, let's take a look at some reasons why your arguments cannot be justified. First, people would say that self-defense is the main reason why they own a gun. This can be understandable, as you would not want to show up to a fight with a gunfight. This is understandable because you don't want a knife at a gunfight. However, there are trained police officers who are meant to handle situations like this that you could use at your resource. Using a gun without knowing how will lead to injuries and deaths. According to the FBI, they say that you should try to run before or hide before you even try to take matters into your own hands. If we were to take more guns off the street, there would not be a fight in which you would need a gun. It's similar to removing the issue, therefore everyone won't continue to do it. The next piece that people try to argue is that they don't want the government in their business. The government already has access to all public social media. Therefore, saying that is also not justifiable, especially when it can save lives. You cannot deem something that's life-saving as bad. Lastly, the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution protects the rights to keep and bear arms. This also leads back to what I said earlier about how if the person you're trying to fight or defend yourself from does not have a gun, there's no reason why you need a gun. There are other non-lethal options that you can use to protect yourself. For example, pepper spray. And again, the right to bear arms does not apply with any malicious intent. And again, you cannot judge what someone is going to do with a gun based on a simple background check. I understand that there can be a good guy with a gun, but he can also not know how to use it. In conclusion, no one should have to fear losing someone to a shooting. When a parent sends their child to school, they definitely should not have to think about whether or not an active shooter will be on campus. Gun laws prevent all gun-related deaths, intentional, unintentional, whether it's suicide, homicide, and mass shooting. People should not have easy access to guns. They should not have access to them without the proper training. And with a heightened cybersecurity presence, this could definitely be avoided. Wanting privacy and claiming that you're using it for self-defense is not reason enough, nor is referring back to the Second Amendment, especially when gun laws would not take your right away from that. It would just take your right away from using a gun to potentially harm someone. Help prevent more lives from being lost by encouraging politicians in the United States to pass gun laws.